sister.
Hello.
How are we today?
We are good. How are you?
We are good. We just need to take a
Yeah.
moment to point out our very different styles today.
You have the style that I would love to be wearing, and
Uh-huh.
I have the style of Mama's got to work today.
Yes, yes. This is a classic. We did not do a vibe check.
No, 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 which is fine
Totally
because I
fine.
feel like that should be our vibe at this point. Because again, I would like to be in sweatshirts and yoga pants, but
Hmm.
sometimes when you're showing houses, you can't wear that. Sometimes you can.
Hmm.
Sometimes you gotta, step up the A game a little bit. So today I felt like we stepped up the A game. But honestly, here's the thing. Yesterday, I didn't do a whole lot of anything and wore sweatpants and a sweatshirt and no bra and didn't do my hair and didn't do my makeup and, was just kind of a slob and it was great.
Amazing.
So, yeah. But today I needed to like mentally pull myself together.
Hmm.
So I matched the outfit for what I needed to bring to the table today.
That's great. Today's the
Right?
first day I have mascara on in like a week, so
Right?
we're doing
Right?
great,
Well, it
okay?
looks fabulous.
Thank you
You know
so
what I did
much.
last week, which I love? I used again, we all know I used to get my lashes done and it was amazing and I
Yeah.
love it, but it's super high maintenance, super, costs a lot of money, everything.
Mhm.
Last week I splurged and went and got a lash lift and tint, and I am obsessed with it. I
Yes.
love it. It makes it look like I have fake eyelashes on, but I don't. And I like, I just love it. Yeah. I'm trying to incorporate more things like that where I'm like, okay, for a minimal fee, how can we maybe treat ourselves a little bit so that we are more like in flow with how we're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
what we call high maintenance to be low maintenance.
Yes.
Yes. It's just like an
Mm-hmm.
eyebrow tint, an eyebrow tint,
Yeah.
an eyelash tint. That's how you wake up looking like you have makeup on without wearing makeup.
Right? Right? Fair, absolutely. Although, okay, speaking of eyebrows, I need everybody that's younger than us to listen to this
Hmm.
because I know that the like 90s are back in style and the early 2000s and all the things. I need you guys to not pick up the
No, no,
tweezers.
no, no, no,
Just
no, no.
don't.
Mm-mm.
Just please do not pick up the tweezers
Mm-mm.
because then you will end up having to draw in your eyebrows every day for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So put them down. You're good as is. Don't do anything with them. Just write it out. Because it's true. They will not come
They
back.
will not
They just
trust
disappear.
your elders. Trust
Oh my
us.
gosh. If you are not going to listen to us on anything else, for the love of everything that is holy, put down the tweezers and just walk away from the eyebrows. Like
Yes.
that is the only thing we need to pass on to this next generation. I don't care about anything else. Don't touch the tweezers.
Because anything else can be fixed, right? Crazy haircuts, crazy hair color,
Yep.
whatever. It can all be
Yep.
fixed. Your eyebrows
Yep.
don't come back.
Right. We can discuss skinny jeans until the cows come home.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine, but your eyebrows do not come back. And so
Mm-hmm.
please just do not touch them.
No.
Like, there's just no fixing it.
No, there's not. They
No,
they
no,
don't
no,
they
no.
don't come back no matter what you try. It's
Right?
I literally put like growth stuff on my eyebrows and they
Mhm.
don't they don't they don't come back.
No,
It's fine.
no, it wasn't working for me either, which
No.
was kind of a bummer, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we were not expecting to start off the podcast like this. Just FYI, this was just a free bonus little opinions on eyebrows.
Yes, 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 more. Okay, so I do have a topic today that I want to talk
Yeah.
about. Okay, so
No,
I
okay.
found this study. Okay, here's the article. New study warns mothers' hardest time is when children are in middle school, not early childhood. So this was a study done by Arizona State University. And it
Uh-huh.
suggests that the most challenging period for mothers specifically is when their children reach middle school rather than during early childhood. Now, I
Okay.
want to know your thoughts on this because
Okay.
I do think it makes a lot of sense. Now, before I found this study, I was telling Tiffany that I wanted to talk about the different stages and which one is hardest, which one is easier, kind
Yeah.
of how we feel about that.
Yeah.
Because I think when your kids are younger and you're in the thick of it, newborn, baby, toddler, like it is really hard and it's really exhausting because it's just nonstop. I think they say that you get an hour to yourself every day when you're
Yeah.
in that phase.
Yeah.
But the caveat is, even with the bad behaviors and the tantrums and whatever, like they're learning to be a human, right? So even with those bad moments, there are so many positive moments throughout the day where your kids
Hmm.
have you belly laughing and playing, and you get this positive interaction with them. Now, this
Yeah.
study, which makes a lot of sense, talks about how when they go into middle school, you don't get that as much because they tend to
Hmm.
turn towards their friends and people outside of their house for
Yeah.
support and for advice and like for those moments. We don't get
Yeah.
that as much in that time, which makes a lot of sense because as my kids are getting older into elementary, I'm like, wow, this is so much communication, friendship, how to handle school stuff, and it's everything that we have no control over.
Right. Right.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. So just in case you're new on the podcast, I have a high schooler, I have a middle schooler, and I have an elementary school. So I have no babies. So I'm past baby stage. So I have one that's gone through middle school, one that's in middle school right now, and then one that's on her way up to middle school. I I don't know if I necessarily agree with it.
Okay.
To be completely honest, it's been my experience
Okay.
that I don't necessarily agree with it. Do I think every stage is hard? Yes, I think there are hard parts to every stage. I think the hard is different
Hmm.
when it comes to middle school and older, when it comes to parenting preteens and teenagers. I think it comes back to, and I know I've mentioned this before, that I think one of the hardest parts for me, or the most stressful part for me, is that parenting goes from this village of we're talking about all the things with all of the kids and all the problems that we're dealing with because they're babies and who cares like if we're talking about potty training and stuff. But when they reach a certain age, you can't talk about the problems that they're having because that is now a grown, not fully grown, but a growing person
Hmm.
who has their own identity into this world, and parents are all connected and the community is all connected. So you can't necessarily like go online and vent and be like, oh my gosh, my preteen was, just beside themselves today. And here's what happened. And how do we deal with this? Because that's theirs, it becomes their story to tell.
Hmm.
So I think the hard part is where it gets lonely and that you can only really talk about it with your teen and preteen, and they don't really like to talk, to be honest, or like your partner. And like that's pretty much it. Like their life becomes more private. So to me, I think that's always been the hardest part. But I don't know if it's like the hardest. I don't know. Okay, so the study says that it's the hardest part, like the hardest phase at all.
Yeah, just okay. So the study revealed that different patterns of well-being among mothers with children of varying ages. In the early years, mothers reported high levels of parenting overload, feeling that mothering crowded out time and energy for themselves and other facets of their identity. So that's why that's that hard part. However,
Right.
they experience the high levels of positive behavior from their children. And so that helps the satisfaction overall. Okay.
Yeah.
So, when children are in middle school, mothers reported the highest levels of dissatisfaction with parenting. This period was marked by increased stress, feelings of guilt, and challenges in the mother child relationship. The study highlights that the demands of parenting adolescents, coupled with the desire to support their children's independence, can lead to significant emotional strain for mothers.
Okay. Again, I don't know if I'm having that experience in
Okay.
the sense that Okay, so I get what they're saying. Like
Hmm.
when they are little, yes, they are like cuddling on you and I love you, mommy. Like it goes from the extremes, like
Hmm.
I love you, mommy, too. I hate
Yes.
you, mommy. And like it's so cute. And you're like, oh, that kind of broke my heart, but I love you too, because you know you're just having a temper tantrum.
Hmm.
To when they become preteens, middle school, all that age, it's not quantity, it's quality. So
Oh.
yes, is my high schooler and my middle schooler giving me hugs and loving up on me? No. Like they would be like, "What are you talking about? You want me to give you a hug?" Like that would be like the world's cringiest thing in the world to them. But has it come down to where they know that I actually really need a hug? Yes. And do you know how special those rare hugs are now?
Yeah.
Like those are life-giving enough to get to the next hug, to be
Okay.
completely honest. Or like it just is more quality. I love parenting. I've talked about this before. I love parenting preteens and I
Hmm.
love parenting teens. I think watching their personalities come through and shine is amazing. It like you're like almost to the finish line. Like I can literally see the finish line with my oldest right now, where I'm like, we're like almost there. Like, have I taught him enough? Have I taught, like, we're like scrambling at this point of like, okay, we need to remember to really like hit home. How do we do laundry? How do we do the dishes? How do we clean up after ourselves? How do we hold ourselves accountable? How do we talk to coaches and teachers? Because we as parents aren't the ones talking to the coaches and teachers anymore.
Yeah.
It has to come through him. Like, okay, how do we teach him how to communicate with that stuff? But I mean, we're 2 years away from the finish line, you guys. And so, like, for
Yeah.
our middle school, we know how fast this comes, but we also are more well equipped to, like, okay, don't forget to teach them this. And maybe we're starting a little bit earlier. Like, don't forget to do these dishes. Don't forget to do this. But the relationship, I would almost say, is just as strong as when they were littles. And for my own level of stress, I don't feel more stressed with them being babies or middles.
Okay.
Like each had their own hard.
Hmm.
I don't know if that makes any sense. And maybe I'm doing parenting wrong. Maybe
No,
we're
I think
too
you're doing it
relaxed. I
right.
have no idea. Like, I don't know. To me, I feel like there's always going to be the good and the bad. For me, I guess I would argue that this journey of them isn't about me.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and I
Yeah.
think I've always just viewed parenthood as that. Whether that is right or wrong, I have no idea. Like, you guys, I am not a parenting expert, so please don't come at me. This is just the way that I parent. Like, it's fine. We did have a conversation with our oldest a few weeks ago, which was really funny because we were talking about like how me and my husband are pretty relaxed parents. Like, we are not the super strict ones. I grew up in a super strict household. Um, and so we're not the strict ones. So we did comment, we're like, you're gonna be pretty strict when you grow up. And he was like, yeah, probably. We're like, yeah. But I feel like that's how it goes. Like
Yes.
you have the strict parents and you're relaxed, and then you're relaxed, and your kids are like, why are you so relaxed? Like we're gonna be super strict. And I feel like that's just kind of the way
Yep.
that the world works, honestly. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if I would say this is the most stressful part because I also then have time to myself and to do my work without juggling kids, and they are more self-reliant, and I I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so what has your experience been as the elementary age running in from baby to toddler to elementary school? Like what are you seeing? And maybe I'm forgetting, honestly.
You know what? I honestly think I would love to dig into the differences of like society versus
Mhm.
generational as well, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of it too, when mine were babies, like it was really hard for me. Now,
Yeah.
I was military spouse. I didn't have help. I didn't have babysitters. I didn't have family. I didn't have friends.
Yeah.
So it was all on me. And so that
Yeah.
made it really challenging. Now,
Yeah.
obviously like it's exhausting, but I loved it. I loved the
Yeah.
joy and like, but again, I think it's like you said, as they get older, you peel back these layers and you learn their personality, and it's so great. I
Hmm.
almost wonder how much of this study and the challenges behind it come from society and the generation as a whole post COVID,
Hmm. Yeah.
because COVID affected these kids and these parents so much. I had
Yeah.
a not 1 year old and a not and a 2 year old. So I had
Yeah.
a baby and a 2 year old when COVID hit. And then
Hmm.
for the next few years, like that's really scary. So then even
Yeah.
2 years after COVID, your anxiety is like, and like
Yeah.
they just in a way they don't get as much of the social norm, and so
Hmm.
they weren't around kids as much. We didn't go to the park as much. We didn't start them in classes until they were older because you're trying to protect them.
Yeah.
But in turn, like I don't know how much of that I'm having to deal with now because of that. So
Yeah.
right now, the challenges that I'm seeing in elementary school is there is a lot of confusion for my kids with communicating with other people and how they communicate,
Hmm.
because in our house we communicate one way. Like I
Hmm.
am very much like you. We are very relaxed. I don't have super high expectations. I don't expect you to be perfect. Like you get to be upset, you get to have your feelings, you get to have all of it because you're a human and that's okay. um
Right.
but then you go into the world and they're elementary school kids, and they're not so nice because they're finding their voice and they're testing it a little bit. And you also have a generation from COVID raised on YouTube
Hmm.
because parents had to work. Parents had to
Hmm.
get stuff done, and it's no fault to the parents. It just is what it is. They had to
Right.
lean on it. They didn't go to school because they were e-learning, and like you have to survive and you have to do what you need to do. But in the same sense, then they're maybe watching things that they shouldn't be watching, and so they're saying things that they don't really understand. And I am very protective of my kids when it comes to the internet and social media. We don't do YouTube at all. And
Yeah.
so even now I'm noticing there are hard things like the Minecraft movie. The
Hmm.
Minecraft movie came out, and it's what all the kids are talking about. And in gym class, they do the Minecraft dances. Well, like I said, I don't like video games. I don't like any of that, so we don't do it. But
Yeah.
now, like, my poor 7 year old is like, well, I don't play Minecraft, so I don't know what any of the dances are. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Am I holding her back by not letting her do these things that all these other kids are doing? So I think that's where
Yeah.
like you do have to look at society and like what's right. Am I right? Or do I need to like let her play the games a little bit more?
Right.
It's
Right.
hard to know. Like it's so for me, it's harder right now just because I don't, it's
Yeah.
hard to know. Like, is this
Yeah.
going to help her? Is this going to hurt her? Like you
Right.
just, as they get older, you lose control. Right?
Right.
And that's
Fair.
that's the ultimate,
Absolutely.
that's the hardest part. I can't control how her teachers talk to her. I can't control how the kids in her class talk to her. Like all I can
Hmm.
control is like I want to talk about it. Let's work through it. Let's figure out how to communicate your needs, how to do this. But it's hard because it's a lot of repairing. You
Yeah.
you want them to have the tools ahead of time and you're hoping that they do, but at the end of the day they don't until that
Right.
situation is in front of them and they're like, what do I do? And you're not
Right.
there to tell them. So for me,
Right.
that's like mentally hard because I want to protect them.
Right. Which is fair. Absolutely. I think, and okay, so full disclosure, and I can't think of any specific examples right now, but there have been times, especially when my oldest was kind of going through the elementary into middle school, where we would be like, oh, crap, like we forgot to teach them this, or we forgot to do this, or we didn't even have our eye on like Minecraft is a great example, or like Fortnite was a
Mm-hmm.
great example.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't realize how many kids were like on Fortnite. And so to us, we were like, why would we ever have our kids on Fortnite? My kids are on Fortnite now.
Yeah.
Like, and so But that came from a pivot of like, okay, we really do need to talk about what that looks like in our family because that is where a lot of the kids are communicating. And honestly, so speaking of like the COVID and the study, to be honest, I almost feel like there's going to be this like blip in all studies.
Hmm.
Is it post-COVID? Is it pre-COVID? And what does that look like for us as a society? Because it is such a big factor in all of this. So, for example, when the world shut down and kids had to be at home more, well, my oldest was in fifth into sixth grade. So he was in the beginning of middle school. And do you want to know how he communicated with his friends? It was on games.
Mm.
So it was on Minecraft and it was on Fortnite, which is probably when, now that I'm thinking about it, when we opened it up a little bit more of like, okay, yeah, this is how they're socializing. They
Hmm.
can't see each other in person, but they can talk to each other all day, every day, playing these games together. And that is what they need because kids do still need to be social.
Yeah.
So that's where we maybe changed our stance a little bit and loosened up even further. Again, we're not super strict, but we just were like, why would we ever have it? Now, I will say, like my oldest, he has a phone. He doesn't ask for Snapchat. He's never asked for Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. Like that's just hasn't been something that he's ever asked for. We've mentioned it, like not like, hey, we'll send you it for Snapchat because I don't really want to. But we've said like, oh, is that how your friends communicate? He's like, yeah, some of them, but he just doesn't ever have that interest
Hmm.
to be into that. So we don't really push it. Really, we just, that's how we ended up opening up some of that stuff. But I think as far as like parenthood goes, it's always going to come at you as a surprise where you're like, oh crap, we were supposed to be pivoting this way and we didn't know it. Like, I think that's just part of parenting, to be
Yeah.
honest, especially with your oldest. Like, it just, it is what it is. Sorry, oldest children.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't know
We're
what you don't
learning with you.
know.
Right, exactly. Until it's like smacking you upside the head and you're like, "Oh, I should have seen that one coming, but I didn't
Yeah.
because I was looking this way." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
But I would be interested to know like the further details of this study. Like, was it done post-COVID, pre-COVID? Was it done with people who are like in the thick of it right now or looking back that they're like, oh yeah,
oh,
that was my most stressful time. You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
Like maybe I will look back and be like, yeah, if I had to compare all of the ages, that was my most stressful time. But right now, I feel like when you're in the middle of the stress, it doesn't feel stressful. Like you're just dealing with it and
Yeah.
coping with it. But maybe in 10 years, I'll look back and be like, oh, yeah, that sucked.
It's got to be that way because when you're in it, you're in it. You have to be in it.
You're just,
You can't
you're
change
doing it.
it. Yeah, you can't
Right.
change it. So like what are you gonna do? I mean, like you can say like, "Oh yeah, this is really hard," but at the end of the day, you're living it and you're living with your kids in that moment. So it is really hard to be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, this freaking sucks." Like in
Yeah.
that moment, it's hard to say, like even in the newborn phase, like is it really hard? Yeah, but do you have a really hard time saying it sucks? Yes, because that
Yeah.
guilt comes in. And so you have a really
Hmm.
hard time saying, this is really freaking hard right now. Like it is
Yeah.
hard to get yourself to admit that until you're out of it. And then because there
Right.
are such good moments with every
Right.
phase.
Right.
So I am really interested to see. And I think we're kind of already seeing the differences with COVID kids, especially with like, the literacy crisis that is going through right now. But I just, there's so many factors. Is it COVID? Is it the No Child Left Behind? These kids are just getting
Hmm.
pushed through and they're not actually learning. Like that's a factor. It just has to be.
Right.
So like there are so many factors that it's like, which one is it? It's like
Right.
my youngest, she had to go to speech. And when she started going to speech, it was like, well, is it COVID or is it that she was the second and we just
Right.
understood what she was saying? Like, there's no way for us to know. There's no way for us to know. It could have been COVID and the fact that she wasn't around other kids. It could have been the fact that she's just the second and we all understood her. So,
Right.
like,
Right.
there was no need to fix it when she was younger. So it's just, it's
Right.
interesting because I don't think you ever really know. I
No,
don't think you
I
ever
don't think
really
you're
get
ever
the
going to really know.
answer. No.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna transition. Last
Love it.
week on Instagram, we asked you all to tell us your favorite kid quotes. Okay, so we want to talk about the
Yes.
funny stuff. So I'm gonna talk about some of the
Yes.
responses we got first. Um,
Love it.
but actually, I have to tell you one story. Tiffany's oldest. This is my
Mhm.
favorite story of him ever. Ever. Okay. When how old was he? Five, six? I think he was 5 or 6. Okay. So we went to our dance studio and there was a show. So they were doing like a
Mhm.
musical or a play. So they had little baby chicks backstage,
Yeah.
in the little bin
Yes.
with the light. So we walk back there, and Tiffany's oldest is again 5, 6, walks over there and he goes, Mimi, it's chicken nuggets. And you have to know that Tiffany's oldest is so literal and has always been literal. So, like, did he know that chicken nuggets came from chickens? Yeah, he did. And he saw those little
Yeah.
baby chicks and he goes, "Oh, well, that's a chicken nugget. There we go."
Right?
It was
Yes.
my favorite quote ever from your oldest.
He
My
is the most
favorite.
literal child ever.
It was so good.
So what's funny is that honestly, like I always, I know they always said like you should write all these down because you're gonna forget them, and I'm like
Yes.
I would never forget them. I forgot all of them.
You forget. You forget all
Like
of them.
I forgot all of
Yeah.
them. Yeah, but
Hmm.
my sisters remember them,
Got
so
you.
you guys can tell me what they said, and then that's just fine.
Yeah. It's you do forget. You think you're
Yeah.
gonna remember and you don't.
No, you never don't. Now, I will say, like, okay, so help me remember this. So, my youngest is also absolutely hilarious.
Uh-huh.
We were backing out of the driveway the other day, and it was like another gloomy day here. It's fine. We're backing out, and all of a sudden, like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not really awake and everything. And all of a sudden, I hear her go from the back seat, "Oh, good, another dreary day." And just deadpan. And I was like,
Yes.
or like, I remember like a few years ago, we were like driving down the road, and I don't know where she learned this, but I was listening to the radio and like there was a song on, and all of a sudden I hear her little voice from the back. She goes, "Pass." I was like, "What?" She goes, "Pass." I
Oh,
was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Turn this on, pass."
oh my
She's
gosh.
she's a hoot.
And there's
They're
so many, it's hard to remember them all.
right.
My oldest, when we were in Florida, she had just met a bunch of my fiance's family that trip. Okay. So, and she is getting really funny. When we were leaving, we were saying goodbye to one of them, just okay on the beach, like, okay, bye. Like, we'll see you next year, whatever. We'll see you soon. Like, love you, whatever. My 7-year-old turns around and she goes, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And we were all like, what? It was so out of nowhere. That was a moment that I was like, I'm gonna remember this forever.
Amazing.
Okay, here's another funny one for Tiff's kids. Now, our other sister responded to the post and said this. And I remember when this happened. I think this was on the phone. I don't know if we were there or not, but heard my sister tell son, don't pet your brother. Yes, I know he's cute, but he's not a puppy. Straight from Tiffany's mouth.
Yep, 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 yep. I'm telling you, my kids are freaking
They are really
hilarious.
funny. Yeah, they are really
I don't
funny.
know where they get it from, but they're really funny.
Okay, and then our dad responded.
Yep,
Okay,
yep,
so I have to tell you guys, I have a twin brother. I know we've kind of
yep.
mentioned that. Now,
This was a good one, guys.
Maxwell and I are very opposite. Okay, he's very quiet, he's very introverted, and I got the voice for both of us. At the same
Hmm.
time, I am very mischievous, and we have also talked about that. Okay, so a lot
Yep.
of times when we were younger, if somebody told me I couldn't do something, I said, I wonder why. I'm going to make Max do it. And I did that to him a lot.
Uh-huh.
So
Yep.
the best story is that I told my brother if he stuck a bobby pin in an outlet that he would go to Ninja Turtle Land. And guess what
Wasn't it
he
Power
did? Oh,
Rangers?
Power Ranger Land. It was Power
I
Ranger
think it
Land.
was Power Ranger
Yeah.
Land. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So I told him if he did that, he would go to Power Ranger Land. And do you know what he did? He stuck a bobby pin in that outlet and
And now we wonder why he doesn't trust women.
I wanted to know why you couldn't do it, okay?
Well, Max found out for us.
It's fine. He's fine. The other funny one of that is we had this like my mom had this like ceramic dog. It was like this big
Mm-hmm.
and had a hole in the
Yep.
bottom.
Yep.
This one I don't take full responsibility for me because he kind of did it on his own. Now I took this
Yeah.
dog and I put it on my head and then I took it off and it came right off. Well,
Right.
Maxwell put it on his head and it did not come off. And my mom had to call the fire department to get it off.
Yeah. Fair.
It's fair.
As one does,
You know what?
obviously.
Obviously, it's great. That one was not as much my fault. He chose to do that one on his own.
Right. Right.
His head was
I
just
mean,
bigger.
he's not. I feel like that was a good lesson in you shouldn't necessarily jump off the bridge if
Hmm.
your friends jump off the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm teaching him.
Look at how the valuable lessons you gave our brother.
You're welcome, Maxwell. Good job.
I wonder why he lived on a farm by himself with his wife and never sees us.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery, honestly. I don't know.
I just don't understand. I mean, like, it's fine.
Okay, and then my fiance commented, my youngest, when something
Yeah.
bad happens, she goes, "Oh, sugar." Every time something's not working out, "Oh, sugar."
Oh, I love
It's so
that.
cute.
Okay, but speaking of which, do you know how terrible it is when they go from pronouncing things wrong to right? Like, that is like gut
It's
wrenching.
awful.
Like, the first time, I literally have an Instagram post because I didn't want to forget this, and now I won't forget it. The first time my daughter went from pancakes to pancakes, I like cried. I was like, what are they teaching
What?
you at school? Like, what is happening? You're not supposed to ever call it pancakes. It's supposed to be pancakes forever. I was never going to correct her on how to pronounce it.
No,
Never.
no.
I was going to let her be 25 years old calling them pancakes. I
Yes,
am good with that. Yes.
yes. It's just like our mom's dog Bella.
Hmm.
Iris, my 5-year-old, called her Fella. Hi, Fella.
Yeah.
Come here, Fella. And then she went to speech. And she came over to mom's one day and she said Bella.
Hmm.
And our mom looked at me and she goes, "Take her out of speech."
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. She was like, "Get her out of there."
Yes.
It's
Heartbreaking. Speech
heartbreaking.
teachers, we love you, but some of the things we just want them to hold on to.
Can't you just say it? It's so cute.
Right? It's fine if you mispronounce it.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Right.
Yes.
Right? Well, like, okay, so that's like when I was growing up. So in our house, we had a living room and a dining room.
Hmm.
And to this day, I still walk into a living room and a dining room and think, yes, I did used to call that the living room and the dining room because I didn't understand that it was the dining with food. I was like living and dying. This makes sense. Real funny for somebody who's in real estate. Okay.
I don't think I ever knew that. That is
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Living room and dining room. Yep.
Oh.
No, it's dining with an N.
But to a kid, that is logical.
100% it was.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You
I
are
thought it was the most
welcome.
logical thing in the world. Like, I just assumed that it was a thing. I don't even remember like our parents correcting me. So if like our parents want to hop on here and tell us when they corrected me, or if I just all of a sudden figured it out. I don't know. It's really similar to the whole like eat the crust of your bread. You guys, this is so embarrassing for me. Eating the crust of your bread, like my mom used to say, it'll make your hair curly. Okay. It took me, I'm going to admit this out loud, it took me into my late 30s when I started making bread to realize that it's all the same freaking thing. Like, there's no difference between the outside and the inside, you guys. If you're eating the inside of the bread, you're eating the crust, and it's all the same thing, and nothing makes your hair curlier.
Honestly, that's such a good line. That's such a good
I know.
lie. But that's what happens. You grow up, and even now, I see people joke about it all the time. They're like, but is it illegal to turn the car light on? Because I'm still not sure.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it is.
The
Like,
trauma, and we had to deal with that with Tyler. We were on a road trip or something, and the girls wanted to turn the light on because it was dark, and I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." And Tyler was like, "No, we can't." And I was like, "Why?" "Yes, we can." And he was like,
were
"No,"
you
and I
taught
was
that it
like,
was illegal?
"What?" Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you were gonna let your kids turn on the
yeah,
light?
man. I'm a rebel. Okay,
Scandal.
scandal, scandal. I almost wonder if they didn't know that you were saying dying. Like maybe they just thought that you were saying dining.
Maybe they thought I was supposed to be in speech.
It's like when she thought you were pretending that you needed glasses.
Right.
Sorry, Mom, we're
Those
throwing
ones
you
I
under
did
the
get though.
bus.
It's fine.
Oh, um, one said that her little has started calling pita bread torpedoes. And I
Oh.
love that.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Torpedoes. Okay,
Yes.
so then we
I
need to
love
talk
it when they
about,
come up.
yes. So we need to talk about food
Yeah.
names in your house,
Oh yeah.
right? So
Okay.
this is a
Yes.
family one for us. Lay's
Yeah.
chips. All of our children, all of us,
Hmm.
they're yellow chips. It's,
Yeah.
if we say
That
yellow
started
chip,
from
that
me.
started from you. If we say
Yeah.
yellow
Yeah.
chips, it's Lay's. Now, coming into
Yeah.
this new family, they're always like, "What?" I'm like, "Us Lay's." That's what we're talking about. And then
Yeah.
mine, we have like the veggie patties for breakfast, the Morning Stars.
Uh-huh.
We call
Yeah.
them patios. So
Oh,
my kids will
which
be
makes
like, "Oh,
sense.
can I have patios?" And they're like, "What? What is a patio?"
Yeah.
It's
Right.
a veggie patty. It just makes sense.
Right.
And yellow
Right.
eggs versus white
Mhm.
eggs. Yellow eggs are
Oh,
scrambled eggs. White eggs are
yes.
hard-boiled eggs.
Nice. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
when my kid said that to my father-in-law, he goes, "As opposed to pink eggs?" And I said, "No, no, just scrambled.
yeah.
Easy."
Again, literal and easy, and it makes perfect sense.
Yes,
To
literal.
us, yellow chips is the yellow chip bag. Like, I need some yellow chips. Okay. Are they Ruffles? No, Ruffles are Ruffles.
And it's a
Are
blue
they Wavy
bag.
Lays? No. Yeah, Wavy Lays are in a red bag, and those are Wavy Lays.
Yeah.
We need yellow chips. That's it.
Hmm.
Period. End of discussion.
Hmm.
And everybody knows in our family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very
Hmm.
logical. If you didn't know, we're just a little neurospicy in our family. So we're very literal.
Just a smidgen. Yes.
A little neurospicy. A little bit.
It's fine. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, kids are so funny.
They are funny. Okay, so speaking of kids, and also we're going to pivot a little bit. What are we watching on the
Ooh.
TV,
Okay.
both with our kids and without our kids?
Okay. So,
Because so like speaking of middle school age, like we've started where my young like my middle, he's really into watching shows with us right now, which
oh,
I love.
yeah.
But finding appropriate shows is kind of hard for him. So we have to like have like kid appropriate showtime and then he goes to bed and then we watch our real shows. So
Yeah.
okay, but what are you watching right now?
So I'm in a totally different boat than you because
Oh yeah.
when I watch shows with my kids, we're watching the Magic School Bus.
Fair. Okay, fair. Yeah, I forgot you were at that age, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
that's
but
fair.
that's what we're
Okay,
watching,
yeah.
which we love. We love Miss
Yeah.
Frizzle. Who
Yeah.
doesn't? We all want to be Miss Frizzle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's got the best.
Absolutely.
So that's our current
Yeah.
obsession. But the show that
Yep.
I'm watching right now, now we just talked
Yes.
about how we love writers and we love
Mm-hmm.
creative people and the process.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm currently watching The Pit on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
I am obsessed with the writing, okay?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I used to work in medical, so I love it. Um, but shows like Grey's Anatomy and stuff are very unrealistic when it comes to medical life, especially because
Yeah.
the doctors are doing stuff that nurses usually do. They're with one patient for a really long time. Like it's just not reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But The Pit is so well written. I'm on episode 8 and
Yeah.
it's 2 o'clock on their shift. So this whole season is one shift. So
Okay.
each episode is an hour and it's about
Yeah.
what the doctors are doing, which patients they're seeing. So you're really seeing how many patients they actually see in an hour and how they handle things. Now, it is very realistic. So if you don't like to look at medical stuff, do not watch it because they show it.
Okay.
I love it. I think it's very cool. But if you don't like that stuff, don't watch it. But the writing itself is phenomenal. Like it is so well done. So it's a really good adult show. Now, going back to kid shows, not really a show, but a movie. The best movie that I have seen this year is The Wild Robot. Have you seen it?
Okay. I have not.
Okay,
Sorry.
you need to watch it. When we saw it in theaters, and I was just like,
Yeah.
we love going to the movies, and so I just was like, oh yeah, let's go to a movie, whatever. This is the only kid movie out. Do I want to see a movie
Yeah.
about a robot? Not particularly, but like, okay,
Yeah.
it is not really about, I mean, it is about the robot, but like it is
Yeah.
so much about motherhood and childhood.
Oh.
The messaging is
Oh.
so deep. It's phenomenal. You cry, you
Okay.
laugh. There's such good messaging behind it all. Just watch it and report back
Okay.
because I promise
Okay.
it is so worth it. It's literally, it's the
Okay.
best movie I've seen all year. So creative,
Really?
so well done. Yes, I love it. Love it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Good to know.
Yeah. So what about
I
you?
yeah. Okay, so we are more watching things like, okay, so with our kids, we're watching like Extracted. Have you seen that one on Fox?
Oh, I've heard of it. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, really good. Love that one. That's on Monday nights. And then we watch a lot of like Food Network with the
Mm.
kids. So we're really into Tournament of Champions
Mm.
on Sunday nights. Uh-huh. Because it kind of takes all of the chefs that we like to watch on all the different shows and it pits them up against each other. So it's kind of
Oh,
like, think of like March Madness, but with cooking.
yeah. Okay.
So anyway, that's kind of been our biggest thing. So as far as like not kid shows though, have you seen Paradise yet?
No.
Okay, so Paradise is one that I would recommend. It was on Hulu. I saw last night that they are starting to air it on ABC.
Okay.
So it was a really interesting show. Like we binged watched it. So if you don't have Hulu, I highly recommend it. It is one of those, okay, so I'm a little bit woo woo with the whole like I'm religious and I'm also woo woo.
Hmm.
I feel like I heard something, and I don't know where I picked this up, like somewhere over the last decade, that somebody had said basically when it comes to Hollywood or when it comes to like how stories are developed, like there's this theory, like a universal law theory or whatever, that like there has to be a certain amount of truth that's revealed to humanity so that our brains don't basically explode when the truth actually is revealed, whatever the truth is,
Oh,
right? So
okay.
I'm like, interesting. Okay. So this Paradise show is about basically this like town that was created underground. And I'm not going to say anything else
Okay.
because I don't want to give everything away. But it's basically about this town that was created underground, under a mountain. Um, and so it was really interesting to watch it and then to be like, could this ever happen? I feel like it might be like a This it was almost like this almost feels a little bit too real. Perhaps we should
Oh,
be paying attention to this kind of thing. Similar to like that. So, do you remember that evolution show? It came out like forever ago on ABC. It
no.
was basically like, and I want to say it was only like 2 seasons long, maybe 3 seasons long. Like it was before the concept of binge watching.
Okay.
Like, so we'd have to tune in every week and watch the next episode. It is the reason that I got my eyes done with LASIK, just FYI, because the whole premise of this show was that like the whole grid went off. Basically, like the whole grid was shut down, and hey, guess what? Now you're living like you used to have to, where you're hunting and you're scavenging for food, and like, like the buildings are abandoned and grass is growing over the streets again. And I was like, well, I think we all know that if I lose my glasses, I'm going to be the first one to die. So I better get my eyes done. So that if this does ever happen, I can see. And so that's why I got my eyes done.
Why do I feel like this is a sign that I need to get my eyes done?
I'm just saying, like, it's probably a good idea.
Oh my
So anyway,
gosh.
so we kind of like shows like that are a
Uh-huh.
little bit like,
To make you
this seems
think.
kind of familiar. Yeah, like, what would we do in this situation? Like, how does that look? And maybe that's like my type A, I need plan A, B, C, D, and E for
Yep.
the rest of my life. But I don't know, it was a really good show. I really recommend watching it for sure.
Okay. All right. I'll have to look it up. I
Yeah.
have not heard of that,
Yeah.
but it's very
Yeah.
interesting. And I do like shows like that because they do make you think, like, what would you do? How would you handle
Right.
it? Especially like
Right.
right now. I feel like Tyler, we have those what would we do? What do we do?
Right. 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 Well, we lost power like a couple weeks ago for 9 hours
Yeah.
in a freak snowstorm. And let me tell you, I thought we were made way, way more prepared for a zombie apocalypse than we actually were. Like, even my husband was like, I don't think we're prepared for a zombie apocalypse. And I was like, you think? We had Oreos for dinner. Like, clearly we're not.
Not prepared at all. But you know what's funny?
No.
When that happened, that same snowstorm was coming this way. And so I was like, oh,
Hmm.
we'll be totally fine. Like, we'll go to my in-laws. Their stuff is underground. We'll be fine. And Tiffany goes, well, ours is underground. And I was like, oh no, now I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, that was my plan. Now I have no
Right?
plan. I don't know.
Right? Anyway, I highly recommend Paradise. I think you should go watch it. It was
Okay.
really good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
Paradise. The
Yep.
Pit, Wild
Uh-huh.
Robot. You guys,
Yes.
watch every parent,
Okay.
grandparent, aunt, whoever you are, watch the Wild Robot. It is so
Okay.
good. It will pull at your heartstrings, like in the best way.
Oh.
It's so good. It's
Oh.
great. Like, cannot
Okay.
recommend it enough. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. What else are we binge watching? I need to know. Like, we
Um,
just binge watch shows so fast that we're kind of like, we get out of them really fast. Like, we need like a series with like 5 seasons at least because we
ooh.
watch them so fast. I know. It's getting tougher to find those that we haven't watched already.
Yeah, it is. And
Mhm.
I don't watch a lot of TV right now. Like if I watch TV,
Yeah.
it's like an hour or maybe two
Yeah.
hours. And
Yeah.
so it's hard for me to binge watch things. And
Yeah.
I'm at such a point in my life, you guys, where my nervous system is like blah. And so I'm watching comfort shows. So
Fair.
I'm binge
Fair.
watching Friends and The Office and Gilmore Girls and Parks and Rec.
Hmm.
So I've
Yep.
seen them a million times, but
Yes.
my brain needs it. So
Yeah.
I'm not the one. However, on our page, we'll post a question box. Hit us up. Oh,
Right.
that was fancy.
Fancy hearts. Look at
Wow,
us.
magic. That was fun.
If you're listening to this and not watching this, a whole bunch of hearts just flew across the screen and we don't know where they came from.
Wow, I am magical. That was very fun. But as I was saying, tell us your shows that you're binge watching because I have
Yeah.
none. I have no recommendations. I don't know.
Also, tell us like what shows you're watching like with your preteens and teens. Like,
Mm.
so there's shows that like our preteen, we're starting to like introduce him to shows that we used to watch or like that are maybe not as appropriate for our youngest to watch.
Hmm.
Um, but like she's starting to get into the age where I'm like, I'm excited for when she is a little older and I can watch like Friends and Gilmore Girls with her. Like I'm really excited for that.
Yes.
We just did introduce her to Hannah Montana, which was kind of a big
A
deal. Yeah.
moment.
Yep, she's already through the whole series. She even watched the movie, and she even told me last week. Now, I don't know if I agree with this. She goes, Mom, if you were given the choice of tickets to go see Hannah Montana or Taylor Swift, which one would you go to? And I was like, Taylor Swift. And she was like, I'd go to Hannah Montana. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Also, I went and saw Hannah Montana in concert when she was a big deal.
What?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, I mean, Miley Cyrus. We all know who she
You
really is.
did? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I went with my niece and my sister-in-law, and we went and saw Hannah Montana. Hmm.
So fun. Although
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
gotta disagree with Megs. I'd see Taylor Swift.
Oh, 100%. I know. I was like, oh, really?
Hmm.
Okay. I think I'd go see Taylor Swift. She was like, oh, I wouldn't. And I was like, okay. And I wasn't going to argue with the 9-year-old
No.
because I was like, I guess she can have her opinion.
Hmm.
But if you give up Taylor Swift tickets, I'm going to be real sad, girlfriend.
Right? Like,
Like,
excuse me, ma'am.
we don't give those up, okay? We say, yes, please, universe. I
Yes.
would like to go see that.
Yes, thank you so much. Give it.
Yes.
Give it.
Right? But it is fun, like, seeing, like, what they can come up with and,
Yeah.
like, kind of watching those shows together. So if anybody has any more ideas that are, like, more appropriate for, like, her age,
Yeah.
she's definitely not at the Friends age. She's not quite at the Gilmore Girls age.
Yeah.
She's almost there.
Yeah.
But I am excited for those seasons to come up.
My 7-year-old is very into musicals, right? So like
Yeah.
Mamma Mia, Wicked. Her
Uh-huh.
birthday party was Mamma Mia last year. Her birthday party this year is Wicked, like
Yeah.
obsessed with them. So she did watch High School
Yeah.
Musical, which was such a moment for me because Zac Efron was my first
Yes.
love, my love. I
Yes.
loved
Uh-huh.
Zac Efron and I loved High School
Uh-huh.
Musical. Oh my gosh. So when she
Uh-huh.
wanted to watch it, and now she turns it on her own. And so every time I hear it, I'm like, yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Although there are some shows that maybe haven't aged super well.
Oh,
Like if you go back and you're like,
a lot
like
of
even
them.
some Friends episodes, I'm like,
Yes.
you can't actually say that now.
You know what? Even Gilmore Girls. As I
Uh-huh.
watch
Yeah.
Gilmore Girls right now, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, I was like, wow, they're kind of bullies.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
they're not very nice. And so I grew up
Right?
watching it, and like, it wasn't a big deal. But now, when I watch it, I am like, oh, they're kind of mean.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
no.
then also, okay, so here's something interesting, like, because you have a daughter too, I have a daughter. As we're like, you always like would watch that and be like, oh my gosh, I love Rory and Lorelai's relationship together. And now I kind of watch it and I'm like, that doesn't seem healthy
Mm-mm,
at all.
mm-mm.
Like, I don't know if I want that kind of
No.
relationship with my daughter.
Mm-mm.
You know,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of codependence happening, and I don't feel like it's just the most healthy situation for you to be
No.
in as a daughter
Mm-hmm.
or a mother.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
yeah, I'm kind of
agree.
curious to see how that one does keep going. Will my daughter like it as much as I do or did growing up?
Probably not.
I don't know if she will.
No.
She'll probably be like, "What is this?
Yeah.
I don't understand this."
But I
Yeah.
think it's like everything, right? We as humans evolve, we know better, we
Hmm.
do better. And like that just it
Yes.
happens every generation. So it's just like the movies that our mom grew up on that then we would watch.
Yeah.
Like she loved Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Oh
Loved that
yeah.
movie. And now
Uh-huh.
you watch it as an adult and you're like, I'm sorry. What is going on? Like this is
Right?
so
You
sexist.
can't
It's
you can't kidnap
you
people.
can't kidnap people. It's so sexist. It's Stockholm syndrome. But they're like, oh, it's this great
Uh-huh.
love story. And like our mom loved it. And we were like, Mom, what are you watching?
Yeah. I think they're gonna say the same thing about Friends and
A
Gilmore Girls. I
hundred
really do.
percent. Yes.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
Gilmore Girls. Especially I do
Yeah.
think that they're gonna grow up and watch it and be like, whoa, this is not healthy.
Right. Which as they
As they
should.
should.
I think
Yes.
every generation should be
Yes.
healthier and should know better and do better. Like, by all means,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. This is what we have to work with. You
Yes.
take it and you make it even better,
Yes.
please.
And to question it.
Yep.
Question it.
Right.
Yes. Look, okay, so the other
Right.
day we were at Costco this week and my 7-year-old was talking to me and made a comment about how, oh yeah, mom, you look like you're 20. And I was like, oh, thank you. And she goes, well, why is that a good thing? And I was like, oh, oh.
Oh.
You are questioning
Oh.
social norms, and I am here for it. You are right. It is not a good
Yes.
thing. I should look my age, and I should be proud to look my age. It was such a moment that I
Right.
was like, yes, you're right.
Look at that 7-year-old coming in with a life lesson.
Teaching me. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't you love it when they just serve those lessons up on a platter for you and you're like, wow, I didn't know I needed that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Makes you question it. But also, I was like,
Uh-huh.
wow, I'm doing a good job. Okay. Great.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Yep. Yeah, right. Although I would still like to look like I'm
I
in my
would.
20s,
Yeah,
please. Thank you.
absolutely. Yep. Let's keep it there because can we just have both?
Right, right. The wisdom of my 40s with the body of my 20s. Oh my gosh, I would rule the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Rule the world. Yes.
Uh-huh. It's true. It's fine.
Yeah, it's great. All right, should we call it?
I think we should probably call it. Yeah, that was a whole lot of stuff.
We squirreled around today. I hope you guys
Yeah.
enjoyed. I hope you stayed around for the squirrel.
Yes, absolutely. How could you not?
Yeah, we covered it all.
We really did. All right, so don't forget to like our page, subscribe, share. If you can rate it for us, that would be awesome. Do all the things that all of the official influencers say to do on Instagram and podcasts and all the things, because we would love it if you would share all of it. Okay?
Hmm.
All right.
Thanks for
Have a great day,
being
guys.
here. Bye.